Hi, it's Craftytinas. Today's video, we're going to make a gift card holder using the We Are Memory Keepers Shadow Box Punch Board. This is going to be a rectangle shaped shadow box, so it is not going to be using the sizes on your machine. If you hop over to my Facebook page, you're going to see that I have a spreadsheet for you to print out that is the Craftytinas shadow box sheet. This is the rectangle side. We also have a square side. Now I have updated the sheet recently in the past couple of days, so all of these sizes are now typed up and in order. They're going to be on a PDF printout that you can get from my Facebook page, which will be linked in the description. The shadow box punch board only comes with 4 sizes in the written instructions and on the board itself. You can make so many more sizes than this board tells you. So I'm going to show you today how to make this one. This punch board here is rectangle so that it can hold a gift card. Now it is 3.5 by 4.5 outside dimensions, which means the inside dimensions are 2.5 by 3.5, which is a good size to put a gift card inside. And that's what this box is made for. We're going to use a couple of die cuts. You can use anything you want to decorate it. You can use any theme. You can make this for Christmas, birthday, anniversary, wedding. It can be any theme because it is so versatile. You guys are really going to want this shadow box after you see how cute and easy this little box gets together. So let's get started on what supplies you're going to need. You are going to need my directions on how to start your box. I'm going to tell you now how big your paper needs to be, but if you're using my sheet, you're going to notice that I have an inside ±1, an outside ±4, and a paper size. We need to make this box 3.5 by 4.5. So that is the outside size. And on my new sheet, I have put some notes over here and I wrote the word gift card so that you'll know that this is the box for a gift card, because I have several tutorial videos coming out that I'm going to be doing using boxes for gift cards. It's a very popular gift these days, so it's going to be a well-made card. The inside is 2.5 by 3.5. The outside is 3.5 by 4.5. Now, if you're using my sheet, you know that we need to, because we're going in this direction, we need to add 4 inches to both sizes. So when we go from the outside at 3.5 by 4.5, we're going to have a paper size at 7.5 by 8.5. And that's what I have here. This is a piece of cardstock. It's for the gift card size, and it is 7 by 8. Any cardstock will work. The more firm the cardstock, the sturdier the shadow box will be. But it does not have to be super thick. Only regular cardstock. This is actually scrapbook cardstock from Hobby Lobby. It's in one of those paper pads where you get a whole bunch of coordinating kind of prints, and that's where this comes from. So it's not super thick, it's just regular cardstock. I don't recommend paper because you need some firmness to hold the box, and it is nice and sturdy, but it is still paper, so it can be squished if you sit on it. It can be squished if you stick it in your purse. So it still needs to be treated with care, just like you would a pretty card, but it is really sturdy for adding the gift card. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually make the shadow box. So once you have your size paper, that is all this punch cares about. Once you start at a certain size, you will end up with the box of your choice. Now I have made multiple shadow boxes, different sizes, from small to large. And the only thing you need to be concerned about is your starting size, because that's the important part. We know this piece of paper, cardstock, needs to be 7.5 by 8.5. So we are going to make the actual shadow box first. You're going to use your little scoring tool that gets stored. The best thing about their punch boards is they all come with a scoring tool, and they're all stored on board, so you have them readily available. The very first thing you need to do is use this side of your scoring board. We are going to score all 4 of these lines. You have 4 lines on this side, on all 4 sides. That is the very first step. They are super easy. Now, the amount of pressure you use depends on the quality of your cardstock. If you're using cheap, flimsy cardstock, if you press too hard, you will tear it. If you're using, such as this, a good quality cardstock, you just simply push down firm and do all 4 score marks on all 4 sides. I have other videos showing you how to use it, but I have scored all 4 sides with 4 lines. The next step is to flip your board around, or you can punch it from the top. I like to flip it around and have it near me. You're going to punch, you're going to double punch, and I'll show you what I mean, these 2 corners, then these 2 corners. So the first thing we're going to do is punch, and then we're going to slide and punch again, and it gives us this shape. We're going to flip the paper over so that we can do the corner that's on the opposite side from what we just punched. So we're going to put this in as far as it will go and punch, and we're going to push again and punch. It is a super easy punch. Use the palm of your hand, not your fingers, because you want that punch to go down straight and even. That will help your punch boards last longer. Now that we have those 2, we are going to flip and do the same thing on this end of the paper. We're going to punch, slide, punch. Just like before, we're going to flip it over and do the opposite side, punch, slide, and punch. We have done everything we need to do with the punch board. For the shadow box, we are also going to use the punch board to make this clear cover. So you need to fold all of the score lines in. Which means toward the middle. You're going to fold them all up. This is what makes our shadow box. It makes all 4 sides. The next thing we need to do is take the ends that have the pointies. We are going to add score tape or adhesive in this last section. That is the last section we folded. We need to add some score tape or double-sided adhesive. It's strictly your choice. I do recommend that it's something that holds well, and score tape holds very well. Score tape is basically has a paper cover on one side of the adhesive. It tears very easily, so you don't have to use your scissors. Once you've placed it down, you're going to pull the paper off. You're going to roll it into a square. So you're putting the adhesive down to the inside the last score line. You're basically making a square. I'm going to try to hold this into the camera so you can see it. You want a square to lay down on the bottom. Just like that. Once you have it laid down against the bottom, you can lay that down so that you can press to hold your score tape down smooth. Now we have our first side of our shadow box. We're going to come over to this side and do the same thing. We're going to take our paper off our score tape. We're going to roll this into a square. Once we have it nice and straight and square, we can then fold it down so we can rub the score tape. Now we have both sides, and that's our triangle cut. We have nice, cute little square sides. Now for this side, we are going to take the score tape again, but instead of putting it here, we're actually going to put it inside between above the score line, but between the outer edges, because we're going to roll this up into these edges. So we pull the paper off. If you put the edge up to that last score line, it does work better. And then you're going to roll that square inside your corners, and that makes a perfect square. Then you can lay that down and press. If I'm going too fast, please go back and watch some of my other videos on making these shadow boxes. Maybe the other videos will help you. I go a little slower explaining. I'm going to put the score tape down. I'm going to take the paper off. And now I want to put that edge at the last score line so that I can roll my little square inside the two ends. Just like that. After a couple of these, it does get super easy, and you're going to be really shocked how fast these go. I have been making these little shadow boxes like crazy. That is what you need it to look like. The inside is 2.5 by 3.5, and the outside is 3.5 by 4.5, because these are 1/2 inch each. So the inside is going to be 1 inch smaller than the outside. But now we want to make sure that our shadow box is secured properly. For this, I'm just using precision craft glue. It's barely art. I got it on Amazon. I do store it with the little straight pin in the tip, and it's worked pretty good. I know you're supposed to take the tip off, wash it, and put the lid on, but I'm crafting constantly, so that's a lot of washing. In the corner of the top, you're going to put a dot of glue, and then you're just going to close it. You're going to hold the 3 sides to make sure that it's nice and snug, and then you're just basically going to wipe any glue that you have off. You're going to tap down so that those 2 pieces actually touch each other. Now, you'll know how fast your glue takes to hold. You want to make sure that you hold this until it is secure, because this is going to keep your shadow box square, which is going to help when you make the clear plastic part. It's going to help to be square and not kind of lopsided. So once you think this is secure, and this is now, you're going to flip it over to the other side, and you're going to put a dot of glue on both sides. It doesn't take much because it's paper on paper. You're going to close it just like the other. You're going to hold these 2 together, and then with your finger hold this one in. It's not awkward or hard because you're not having to put any pressure. You're just basically holding it to a perfect square, giving this glue long enough to dry so that it keeps the actual perfect shape. If you do not want the white background, you can use double-sided cardstock, or you can put another piece of cardstock in the bottom with any color or print so that the back is colored. As you can see in mine, I left it white because the gift card's going to take up pretty much all of that space. It's going to be double-sided adhesive onto the tag. So now that we have our shadow box, and this shadow box at this point can be used for anything. Now we're going to add the plastic cover. Now this is 7mm PVC report cover page. I know that's kind of a mouthful. I will put this link in the comments. This comes from Amazon. Any stiff plastic that is clear that you can cut and score will work. It doesn't have to be exact. If you have packaging that you're going to throw away that had some clear on it, save those pieces because they work really well. So we're going to get out our cutter, and you're going to cut this the same size as the outside of your box. In case you're making these in different sizes, not just the gift card, you can cut this piece to fit the outside of the box. So in this case, it's 3.5 by 4.5. I've already cut this, but I wanted to show you. Any cutter or scorer will work. This is the We Are Memory Keepers, the Works. It matches everything. So you're going to cut this at 4.5 by 3.5. If your cutter can cut the cardstock, your cutter can cut this. It cuts it just as smooth. Once you have your piece that's 3.5 by 4.5, you now need to score it on all 4 sides, but you're only scoring it once. You're not scoring it 4 times like you did with the shadow box. Because we need it to be the 1/2 inch deep, because it's going to fit inside of here, we get to use our punch board to make this cover as well. So you're going to put it in the corner. I know you can't see it because it's clear, but I have it all the way in the left corner. I'm only going to score the first line. I'm going to turn it and score the first line on all 4 sides. And then I'll be able to show you, and with the scored lines, it kind of turns it white. So now you can actually see what I'm doing. It has 4 scored lines. We're going to move this to the side. Now you're going to take a pair of scissors and you're going to cut the score line once. I like to take a little slither off, but that is totally optional. That gives you a little tab that will fit a little better. You're gonna cut on the other side and cut a little angle if you want. Cut here and another angle. And now you have, and it's very hard to see because it's clear, but I have a little tab here, 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 and here. So now I want to fold all of these score lines. I'm basically forming a tray. I'm going to fold all of them in. And I want to give it a good rub, a good, really good fold. You're folding them all in. Now you have this little tab. You're going to fold that in as well. You're going to fold the tab in. So now you have 2 tabs that are going to be secured to this side. You're basically making a tray. So let's fold these 2 tabs over here. And you're making a tray. Now I'm going to use score tape for these tabs, and you will be able to see the score tape because this is clear. I do think they make score tape or double-sided adhesive that is made for vellum that it's clear, so it's not that cloudy look. And I'm basically just making my tray. So you're just taking a small piece, nothing bigger than that tab itself. You're adding the adhesive and making the tray. Now we're going to do the other 2 sides the same way. We're putting score tape on the tab, removing the paper, and attaching it to the inside of the side. And you're keeping it straight because you want this to be a tray that fits inside. So now we have 1 tab left. And it's okay to pull that tab out to put the score tape on it. And you're going to put it inside and attach. Now we have the perfect little tray. This tray fits inside your shadow box. And now you have a cover for the shadow box. and my cover has a piece of paper in it. So now we have our shadow box, we have our cover. Let's talk about the inside of the shadow box. I've used a tag die. You can use anything. You can use just a piece of cardstock. It doesn't have to be a tag. I just wanted the hole to attach a ribbon. So we're going to use the scoreboard again. You can use just a square or a rectangle piece of cardstock. It doesn't have to be a tag. We're going to place it back on our scoring board, and we're going to score the first line and the second line. We're going to score the first and the second. We're going to fold the first one back and the second one forward. This is going to allow our tag to sit inside of our shadow box, just like that. Here's where you would put a piece of double-sided tape, and then you would put your gift card here. If you're not putting a gift card and you're putting money, you can put it in here as well. You could roll the money up and put multiples in here. You could be very creative with this box. I have some cute little ribbon. I'm going to cut just a small piece, and I'm going to tie it to the tag. You can tie it in a knot, you can do a loop, a bow, pretty much anything. I just tied a little knot. I was happy with it. If you're worried about it coming undone, simply put a dot of glue inside your little knot. Obviously this piece is too big, so I want to shorten it. If you're cutting ribbon, always cut diagonal so that you can not have frayed little edges. Or you can use a lighter and burn the little edges to keep them from fraying. Now we can put our clear cover back on our box. And now we have our box ready for our gift tag on the inside, but now let's decorate the outside. One of the things I did was I cut out a butterfly. You can use a punch or a die. These are called dies because they actually cut cardstock when you run them through a die cutting machine. You can use punches, you don't have to use dies, or if you have a Cricut or Silhouette, you can cut these out using any machine. It's bugging me that this is not flat. There we go. We're going to put this in. Now, if you're wondering why I did this, it's so that the person receiving it doesn't have to take their nails and open this. They simply pull the little tab to get it open. It was just another way. I was actually going to put one of those little tabs, like a folder tab on the top, but then I was sitting here looking at my little dies and thought this was a pretty top to go on here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to decorate our butterfly, and all I did was put rhinestones down the center and put it on foam tabs. If you have anything you want three-dimensional, you can use these little adhesive foam tabs. So I add 3 little adhesive rhinestones to the center. You can color the center if you don't want to add the rhinestones. You can even put a small flower in the center of a butterfly if you don't want to use the rhinestones. Just adding 3 rhinestones really changes the way that butterfly looks. And then with your fingers, just simply mash the butterfly up so that it has a little bit more dimension. I'm going to take 1 little foam tab, and I'm going to place him in the corner, but make sure you leave enough space so that that plastic is able to open without interfering with the butterfly. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add my flowers. Now we're taking this out, so I don't want to put the adhesive on here. I want to put the adhesive on the plastic, so when you lift the plastic out, the flowers comes with it and you're not sealing up the bottom. So we're going to take some very skinny I think this is 1/8 of an inch scoring tape. We want to give it a good base so that it actually sticks well. And then I want to put the flowers. I really want them to stick to this plastic. I am not sure this glue will stick to plastic. I haven't used it very long to know what its limitations are. So we're just going to add a little bit of score tape to a couple of the different flowers. And I'm actually going to put a dot of glue in the middle of this one because I don't think it's big enough for score tape. So we'll get a little mixture of glue and score tape. Let's take all the paper off the score tape. And we're going to place this on the plastic, not on the cardstock. We don't want this on the frame. We just want it on the plastic itself. And there we go. Now, because I used glue here, I have to wait a few seconds for this one to adhere. Now, this was just a one color, one cut die, and I didn't want the flowers to be green. So I ran this die back through the cutter with pink just for the 3 flowers. So we're going to add the 3 flowers on top of the green. I'm just going to add a little glue to this cardstock. And we're going to place the little pink part. All I did was use the die cut it in pink, and then I tore off the stem so that it's just the flower. You could use paper punches and put another one there if you'd like. I did have some trouble with this die. This flower gave me so much grief. And I remembered reading that someone used dryer sheets to help with that. So I actually dug out the dryer sheets. I added a piece of dryer sheet to this, then the cardstock, and ran it through the machine, and it actually did really well. It was able to come right out because I was having a hard time getting this out without ripping because it is super tiny. It's very delicate. So I will be using that hack more in the future too because it actually did work. We're just going to put a little couple of dabs of glue to try to get this to stay. They are tiny pieces of paper, so it shouldn't be hard to keep them there. You shouldn't need too much glue. So now we've added some color to our greenery, but I wasn't satisfied with that, so then I added some rhinestones. These little adhesive rhinestones are my favorite. If you have trouble picking them up, I believe the Diamond Art pins pick these up pretty good. I have not tested that. I pick them up really good. My problem is if I squeeze them, they go flying. So now we have 3 rhinestones in our flowers. And how are we looking, guys? 2 very different prints, but the exact same layout. They look very different, in my opinion, because we have different paper. It's still the same color background because this is from the same pad of paper. This was just a bunch of flowers and butterfly watercolors, and it is from Hobby Lobby. It was an actual paper pack that I got from them. Actually, I have it here. I can show you. It is Paper Studios. It's called Rose Fate Melody, and it's got some really cute watercolor pictures. I've been using these for punch boards and or for shadow boxes, and they have been working really well. Always remember to get it when it's on sale. Don't pay full price. They always have the paper crafts. The Paper Studio brand is 40% off a lot, like every 4 to 5 weeks. So make sure you get it when it's on sale. But this is our pretty little flower gift card. All they have to do is pull the ribbon and the gift card comes right out. So if you want to see more of the same type of item, make sure you subscribe so you get notification. If you want my printout to know how to use the shadow box for other shapes besides the 4 listed here, check me out on Facebook and you can print that for free. As a sneak peek, we're still into Christmas, so here is another shadow box that I am going to show in another video. We are using a different backing to hold the shadow box. So if you want to see this and other great ideas, make sure you subscribe so that you'll know when the next video comes out. Check me out on Facebook and you'll see other people's creations. And as always, happy crafting.